Hey guys, Tim Bratz here. We are in Medina, Ohio, a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio, checking out a 24-unit apartment building that I bought in 2019. I'm gonna do a little case study on it and show you a little bit about how we bought it, how we renovated it, how we funded it, and then how we refinanced it, and now how we're cash flowing the property. And we'll go through the whole life cycle of what a 24-unit apartment value add renovation looks like. We originally got this property in 2019 by sending out an email blast to our email list. So you probably have a database of wholesalers, flippers, lenders, mortgage brokers, real estate, commercial brokers, residential brokers, agents, like all these different people that you've met in real estate over your life, right? Or maybe even they're not in real estate, but entrepreneurs, people that you just know in the area, know in the market. And so whenever I'd meet somebody at a real estate investors association or at a property walkthrough or whatever, I would get their card, right? And I'd put it into an Excel spreadsheet that I didn't know what to do with. And I was like, I might be able to use this as like a database for something in the future. And I just put their name, phone number, email address, and maybe like notes about where I met them. And over the course of saving up these business cards and cataloging these contacts over many, many years, I ended up figuring out that, hey, I have an email list that I can market to. And so I would start sending out an email on a weekly basis saying, I'm looking to buy apartments, I'm looking to buy apartments, I'm looking to buy apartments. And if I buy anything, I'll either pay you a commission if you're licensed, or kick you some equity in the deal, or send you a gift, something along those lines. And all of a sudden, there were people on that list who you wouldn't think that they would know or come across apartment deals that would then send me deals. And so this one came across from somebody who was like an administrative assistant at a real estate office, and I think her husband owned this for a very, very, very long time. And this guy didn't really take care of the property very well. It was kind of one of these, let me just kind of juice it from rents as much as possible. But it's a 24-unit apartment complex, 12 units in that building, 12 units in this building, and all of them are 2 bedrooms. And they were only getting $499 a month in this area. Now this is an A-class community. It's got a phenomenal school district. We're about a mile away from a historic downtown area with some awesome restaurants and cafes and breweries and all sorts of cool things that are going on in the downtown area. And it's growing rapidly, right? Like obviously these are older buildings, but it's a phenomenal area in Medina, Ohio. And so this guy's only getting less than $500 a month, somewhere in the high 400s. And we take a look at it. We actually contracted it, I think, around $700 or $700,000 for 24 units. Again, this is 2019 though. And it was a very, very distressed property. It was so distressed that after inspections, we actually were able to renegotiate, get it for $625,000 to buy all 24 units. But we expected to put at least another $600,000 into it. And we actually ended up putting about $1.8 million into it. And by the way, we got a debt fund in order to give us a bridge loan. This is essentially like a hard money lender on the commercial real estate side. And so they gave us a bridge loan for about 85% of the purchase price and renovation, the original renovation. So we only had to raise, I think it was around 900 or almost $1 million that they gave us, and we only had to raise about $300,000. But we went over budget, and so I'll talk a little bit about that. But that initial lender gave us the money for the purchase price and majority of the renovation. We only had to raise a few $100,000 for the down payment and to kind of get construction rolling. As soon as we came in though, we started looking at the tenant base and realizing people weren't paying rent. These are things that should have been done during due diligence that was a little bit looked over, I guess, which is why we have standard operating procedures in place now, checklists in place now to make sure that we don't make these silly mistakes. The roofs were in way worse condition than we originally thought. We found out there was no insulation in between the walls. There was a lot of mechanical failures that we had to replace a whole bunch of the HVAC units and some other things, and then obviously all the cosmetic improvements to all the units. There were litters of feral cats living underneath these buildings, and major issues across the board. And then the tenant base was like awful, right? They weren't paying rent. They were nothing but trouble. They were having parties all the time. They were disrespectful to the neighbors. They were disrespectful to the other tenants. And so it was nothing but issues. So when we bought this property, we originally thought, hey, we can keep majority units and just turn units as tenants move over and turnover. And we realized we had to just vacate the entire complex. So we had 24 vacant units for almost 2 years while we did all these renovations. And on the exteriors, on the roofs, they're now pitched roofs, but originally they were all flat roofs. They were leaking like crazy. We looked at the cost to replace a flat roof versus the cost to just get new trusses in and put a pitched roof on. And it made more sense, especially long-term, to throw the pitched roof on. And now, no issues with that. We repainted the buildings. They used to be a brown and beige kind of a color. We redid all the windows, all the doors, all the common area, flooring, carpet, stairwells, paint, obviously, flooring, fixtures, kitchens, and bathrooms. On all these different properties. So it took about 18 months in order to get everything renovated, everything turned over, and started leasing it back up. We were hoping to get about $750 a month in rent, and today we're about, I guess, 4 years in now. Today we're getting $925 a month in rent. So we smoked our projections. We're getting way more, and the reality is because we had 24 units, we had to place a lot of tenants in a very short amount of time, and so we had to start it at a lower rent and then bump it up incrementally as each rental cycle occurred, as the leases came due. And so as that happened, we were able to continuously bump up rents incrementally, and now we're getting $925, and we'll probably be able to get it up to about $1,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment in this area. And if you use kind of the 1% rule, what is it worth? It would put it around $100,000 a unit. So although we're into it for about 1.8 million, it's probably worth somewhere around 2.2 to 2.4 as we hit just 1 or 2 more rental cycles. So real quick before heading inside, I want to point out something. We have a dog park over here. This was not originally there. And we actually, spent a few $1,000s in order to get it all fenced in and put a doggy bag, deposit thing over there, and a trash can, a couple chairs, so that way people can have their dogs run around and play in the dog park. Why would you want pets in your rental? Well, I'm going to show you inside how we harden the units. But the reality is, when you have pets, many people don't allow pets, right? So now I'm attracting a clientele that other people are pushing away. But more importantly, from an income statement approach, there's pet fees that you can charge that are non-refundable. It's just a pet fee in order to then live there, and you can bump up the rent by an extra $25, $50 per unit per month because they have a pet there, and there's some additional upkeep because of that. So although we spent a few $1,000s to put in this fenced area, it was only a few $1,000s. If we collect, let's say, a quarter of the apartments have pets, and let's say they just have 1 dog, that's an extra $600 in pet fees if we only charge $100 per pet, and an extra $25 per month per pet. That's another $150 per month times 12 months. It's $1,800 in monthly rent increments, additional rent, plus the $600 in non-refundable pet fees. So now you're talking about $2,400 of additional income annually. In order for us to spend, I think we spent less than $3,000. So what's the return on investment on that? It's about 80%, right? And so it makes sense to do little things like that. I like adding amenities to properties that can generate more revenue. I don't like adding amenities that increase cost, but don't add revenue. This is something that's a great amenity. It attracts tenants who take care of their units, have some pets. Other people aren't interested in having them at their units, but it also increases revenue for the building. All right, let's go look at inside how we harden these units. All right, so now we're in the hallway of this 12-unit apartment building, and there's a handful of apartments on each story. There's 3 stories, and you could see we didn't do much other than we put in new carpet, right? Some Berber carpet, easy to clean and hide some of the dirt. We updated the walls to more of a grayish tone. and then carpeted the stairs all the way up to make it just feel a little bit warmer. Another thing we did is they didn't have any appliances here for washing clothes. And so we added new electric in these common areas that were just storage rooms before, in order to attract tenants that now have laundry right there in their building. And we partnered up with a local appliance company, and this guy comes in, he actually owns the appliances. He comes and services the appliances. If they break, he replaces the appliances. He comes and gets all the coins, counts all the money, sends us a check. I think we have about a 60-40 split with him in favor of us. So of all the revenue that comes in, we make about 60% of it, and then he ends up making 40%. But again, this is one of those things where it's an amenity that generates revenue. So it's something that attracts tenants, but it also generates revenue. You could probably expect, if you have a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom apartment, probably 1 to 2 loads of laundry per week. It's $2 to wash, $2 to dry. You do that twice a week, and all of a sudden you're generating, about $8 to $10 per week per tenant. That's an extra $500 per unit per year. And so if we get 60% of that, that's an extra $300 per unit per year. That's equivalent to bumping up the rent by about $25 per month, right? But it's an actual amenity, it attracts them, but it's other incremental ways to increase rents and increase revenue on an apartment building, on an asset, where all that matters is increasing the income, decreasing the expenses to increase the total overall net operating income. Let's go check out one of the units. All right, so you can see this unit just came vacant, and because of the area and because of the finishes, it just came vacant at the end of July. We're filming this the first week in August or second week in August, and it's leased up by August 15th. So there's only a 2-week span in order to turn the unit back over and actually have somebody ready to move back in. We've renovated every single one of the units. You can see we put new doors in. We've kind of freshened up the color on the walls to more of a grayish taupe color. We use LVT flooring. Remember how I said we allow pets? This is easy to clean up. If a pet comes in here, all you have to do is sweep and mop, and all the dander, all the pet smell is gone. Versus carpet. Carpet holds bugs. Carpet holds smells. Carpet holds, you have to replace it every couple of years because it gets so beat up by tenants, especially if they have pets. So we harden the property in this kind of a way, so that way it's a lot easier to turn over the units. This is why our team's able to then turn over a unit and clean something like this out within a day or two, and maybe freshen up some of the wall paint or anything like that. Here, look at this. We just use flush mount globe lights instead of using chandeliers or ceiling fans, which always break, which have multiple moving parts, which people dangle goofy stuff on. We want as few moving parts as humanly possible, and they're actually cheaper, right, than installing a ceiling fan. But more importantly, the ongoing maintenance is easier in these than it is a ceiling fan or some sort of a chandelier that's far more likely to break and cause issues in the future. Let's check out the kitchen. Well, actually, let's check out the bedrooms and the bathroom first. So this one has heat and air, 2 bedrooms, 1 each way. Simple. Nothing crazy. New outlet covers, new light switch covers, fresh paint on the walls, keep it simple. And if I took you to one of my other apartment buildings, these all look exactly the same. Reason being is we can take paint, leftover paint from this building, and take it to another one. We can take the leftover flooring from this property and take it to another one. Or if we're renovating another property, going through the value add on some other building that we own, and something happens to the flooring over here, we just pull it from over there and install new flooring. But it's all the same SKUs across all of our properties because it makes it that much more predictable and easy in order to scale on purchasing materials and on installing and continuing maintenance on the material side. So 2 simple bedrooms. Here, I'll point this out. Less moving parts, remember? A lot of times people have those accordion doors or something here. I don't want all the moving parts, so we put up the shelving and leave it open, right? It feels more open because otherwise it would feel a little bit tighter walking down here. And again, it's one less moving part, one less expense that you're incurring. Bathroom, simple bathroom. New tub surround in here, nice and easy, nice and clean looking. Low flow toilets and low flow shower head and low flow faucet. We do that, it's no more expensive than anything else, but it saves us about 40% on the water and sewer bill. The other thing is these light fixtures are all LED light fixtures. And so it saves us around 15 to 25% on our electrical bill by reducing the amount of energy that we're putting into the, or that these light fixtures are drawing. Make sure you're doing that. Same flooring as we have the bedrooms as we have the kitchen. Let's go look at the kitchen. If you've ever seen any episode of HGTV, it's kitchens and bathrooms that sell. And so this is where we really spend quite a bit of money, is in renovating the kitchens. So we've got white shaker cabinets, all brand new. Brushed nickel fixtures. Stainless steel appliances, including a dishwasher. And it just looks nice, right? Oh, and granite countertops. Granite countertops. See, people are like, oh, well, you know, granite's so much more expensive than Formica. But look at how much, it's like 12 square feet of countertop, that's it. And so when you think about, you got to install Formica countertop or you have to install granite countertop, it's not that much of a difference. But this hardens the property, right? If somebody takes a pan from here and puts it on here, it's not going to ruin the granite like it would with a Formica countertop. If somebody cuts something, it's not going to ruin this like it would with a Formica countertop. If the water gets onto it, it's not going to rot out like a Formica countertop does. It hardens the property and it looks nice, right? So in this price range, a lot of the other units in this price range don't have granite. So when they come here and they look at our units, it leases up right away. And even if we bump up rent and they start looking at other places in order to go and move to, the other places don't have granite countertops, and people don't like to give up their lifestyle once they get used to something. So that's why we try to make the kitchen super nice, super clean looking, and it attracts great tenants. So this is one of those areas that we stay essentially 100% occupied most of the time, and as soon as a unit comes, turns over, it's usually because the tenants are so qualified that they go and buy a house or something along those lines. But we always have a wait list, and so we fill these things back up within 15 to 30 days. So this is kind of one of those unique times where people move over the summer. And so we had 3 or maybe 4 units that just came and turned over. 3 of them are already pre-leased to be moved in within 30 days of when the person moved out. So we cycle them pretty quickly and bring in quality people, and it gives us an opportunity to bump up rents to more of a market rate. So all in all, we ended up buying this place and renovating it. We thought we'd be in for about 1.2 to 1.3 million. We ended up being in for closer to 1.8 million dollars, maybe actually about 1.85 million is what our total cost basis is, because we had to kick all the tenants out. There's nothing but problem. It sat vacant. We thought we'd have some rental revenue during that time, and we didn't. And then obviously, so the holding costs went up. The carrying costs were higher because we didn't have any rental income coming in, so we had to be paying out of pocket all those different months. And we rented the whole thing out for a little bit under market rate because we needed to fill so many units so quickly. But because we did that, we're able to get more money for the property longer term, and we're able to bump up rents. Instead of getting $750 a month stabilized rent, we're able to get about $925 now. And the reality is we should be able to get $1,000 a month over the next 1 to 3 rental cycles as we continuously bump up rents. So what does that do? That allowed us to then go and get a refinance loan. We refinanced in 2021, put a new loan on it for about just shy of $1.6 million. So it allowed us to pay off the original acquisition and bridge lender. It paid back majority of our investment capital, and there's still a couple of bucks of investor money sitting in the property. They're cool with it. It's still riding. We're still paying them 10% on their money. But the new loan that we got was a stabilized agency loan. That agency means like Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae. And our interest rate on that is 3.56%. So we got a phenomenal rate on it. We got 2 years of interest only, and then it amortizes out for 5 years on a 30-year amortization schedule at 3.56% interest rate. So it's a great debt that we put in place, a great property in a great area that we plan on holding. Who knows? Maybe the right offer comes through. Maybe we can refinance it in a few years. Maybe we'll sell, maybe we'll hold. But the great thing is we have options, right? We can do any one of those things. And even if we don't refinance or we don't sell, we can hold it long term and it'll cash flow great. So it's a fantastic 24 unit building. You don't have to go after these 100, 200 unit apartment complexes. There's a lot of amazing properties owned by mom and pop investors right in your own backyard that you can buy like this, create some value, force appreciation, never speculate on appreciation, and buy for cash flow. Stick to good properties, good areas, make good renovations, put great debt in place. We in-house manage this, so we control the management side and then hold on to it. So there's a 24 unit, Medina, Ohio. Gives you a little bit of an idea of how we go through the value add process. Now it's time for you to go do it. Give me your biggest takeaway in the notes below, and make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. We're always trying to give as much value as possible. And I'm gonna do several more walkthroughs and case studies on other properties that we own here in Cleveland, Ohio while I'm up here this summer. So make sure you track, subscribe, watch the other ones. You'll see how we do bigger apartment buildings, smaller apartment buildings, some mixed use buildings, office buildings, and even my own personal office property of how I turned a liability into an asset. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Be your best.